It's a bright red vehicle we expect to see every single day. It's one which has been in development for over 500 years and is even replaced with planes in some areas. This is the story of the iconic vehicles used by the Royal Mail and what happens to them when they finish delivering your post. The Royal Mail story starts over 500 years ago. In 1516, Henry VIII established a Master of the Posts, but it wasn't until the 18th and 19th centuries that the Royal Mail's use of vehicles really began to evolve. In the early days, horse-drawn carriages, known as mail coaches, were the backbone of the service. These coaches were fast for their time, and by 1784, they were covering long distances between major cities like London and Edinburgh. The iconic red colour we associate with Royal Mail vehicles today can trace its roots back to these mail coaches, which were painted red for visibility and branding. The introduction of mail coaches in the late 18th century marked a significant advancement in the Royal Mail's operations. Previously, mail was carried by horse riders, a method that was both slow and vulnerable to highwaymen. The new coaches, however, were not just faster, they were safer, with armed guards accompanying the drivers. This increase in speed and security enabled the Royal Mail to guarantee next-day delivery to many parts of the country, a revolutionary concept at the time. The early 20th century brought about significant changes as motor vehicles began to replace horse-drawn carriages. In 1907, the Royal Mail introduced its first motorized vehicle, a modest fleet of motorbikes and cars, including the iconic Ford Model T. By the 1920s, vans started to become a more common sight. Morris vans were among the first to be used extensively, known for their reliability and efficiency in covering the increasing number of delivery routes across the UK. These vehicles were far from luxurious, but they were sturdy and capable of handling the growing demands of the postal service. The introduction of motor vehicles allowed Royal Mail to expand its services and increase the speed of delivery across the nation, especially in rural areas that were previously difficult to reach. The Royal Mail was not just a postal service. During World War I and World War II, it became a lifeline for millions of soldiers and their families. The service played an essential role in maintaining morale on the home front and the battlefield.
January 1916, the second winter of the war. On the Western Front, the Germans were preparing a new offensive. Its code name was Gericht, judgment.
Ensuring that letters and parcels could still reach their destinations despite the chaos of war. During World War I, the Royal Mail handled millions of letters sent between soldiers on the front lines and their loved ones back home. Mail was often the only connection soldiers had to their families, offering comfort and a sense of normalcy amidst the horrors of war. The volume of mail was immense. By 1916, the Royal Mail was handling around 12 million letters and 1 million parcels each week. The logistical challenges were enormous. The Royal Mail had to ensure that letters sent from the trenches reached their destinations safely and promptly, often under difficult conditions. Mail vans, trains, and ships were all used to transport mail, and the service had to adapt to the constantly changing front lines. Despite these challenges, the Royal Mail maintained an impressive level of service, with most letters reaching their destination within a few days. World War II saw even greater demands on the Royal Mail. With millions of servicemen and women stationed around the world, the Royal Mail once again rose to the occasion. Specially designed vehicles were used to navigate the bomb-damaged streets of Britain, ensuring that mail continued to be delivered even during the height of the Blitz. Despite these obstacles, the Royal Mail continued to deliver, helping to keep the country connected during one of its darkest hours. As the decades rolled on, Royal Mail continued to innovate and expand its fleet. The 1950s saw the introduction of the Bedford CA van, which quickly became a staple of the Royal Mail fleet. These vans, with their distinctive rounded edges and sliding doors, were not only practical but also became synonymous with the Royal Mail's image during the post-war years. The 1970s and 80s brought further advancements, with the introduction of the Leyland Sherpa and later the Ford Escort van. The Leyland, in particular, revolutionized Royal Mail's operations. It was versatile, reliable, and spacious. Everything a postal service needed to keep up with the growing volume of mail and parcels. The Royal Mail's vehicles weren't just about function, though. The bright red livery, the instantly recognizable Royal Mail logo, and the simple yet effective design made these vans an iconic part of British life. They became symbols of reliability and service, and to this day, seeing a red Royal Mail van evokes a sense of trust and tradition. One of the most fascinating aspects of Royal Mail's operations is how they handle deliveries in some of the UK's most remote and challenging locations, particularly the islands. The British Isles are home to over 6,000 islands, and while many are uninhabited, the inhabited ones still rely on regular postal services. Delivering mail to these locations involves a variety of transport methods, including ferries, small boats, and even aircraft. In some cases, vans are transported on ferries to reach their destination. Once on the island, these vehicles must navigate narrow, winding roads that can be treacherous in bad weather. Despite these challenges, the Royal Mail prides itself on ensuring that even the most remote communities receive their post on time, maintaining a vital connection with the rest of the country. The fleet of bikes, vans, and lorries are true workhorses, relied upon to perform daily duties under all conditions. Just as Henry VIII expected 500 years ago. To keep up with the demands of everyday use, these vehicles undergo regular, rigorous maintenance. The Royal Mail operates an extensive network of service centres across the UK, where dedicated teams of mechanics ensure that each van is ready for the next journey. No exploration of this brand's vehicles would be complete without these two. Since 1981, Postman Pat has become a beloved children's TV icon. His van, with its cheery red livery and the Royal Mail logo, became a cultural symbol of the British Postal Service. This influence even extended beyond the show, as Royal Mail would later capitalise on the character's popularity by issuing themed stamps and merchandise. Although Postman Pat evolved over the years, even incorporating new technologies like modern vans and automated sorting machines in later episodes, the original red van remains a powerful symbol of the Royal Mail's presence in British life and a fantastic marketing tool. A typical Royal Mail van racks up impressive mileage over its lifetime, easily exceeding 150,000 miles before being retired. Some vans can even reach over double that number, testament to both the durability of the vehicles and the importance of regular maintenance. Given that these vans are on the road every single day, covering everything from city streets to remote country lanes, the Royal Mail places a high priority on ensuring that their fleet remains reliable and efficient. But what happens when these trusty vans reach the end of their service life? Well, Royal Mail has a well-established process for selling off their retired vehicles. Each year, hundreds of ex-postal vans are sold at auction, sometimes commanding higher prices due to maintenance history and reliable engines. The larger lorries are often ideal platforms for race transporter trucks or for removals. Some retired vans are converted into campers, mobile shops, or even food trucks, while others are kept as collectibles, preserved in their original livery as a piece of British history. The auctions where these vans are sold often attract a diverse crowd, from small business owners looking for a reliable vehicle to collectors seeking a piece of nostalgia. Today, the Royal Mail fleet is once again evolving. With a growing focus on sustainability, they've begun integrating electric vans into their fleet. Time and future developments will tell how effective this can be across a service responsible for delivering to over 36 million addresses. The iconic red livery remains, a symbol of continuity and trust, even as the vehicles themselves change to meet the demands of a modern digital world. Just recently, drones and unmanned planes have been trialled for delivering to even the remotest parts of Britain. The government-funded scheme dubbed AirBridge first saw its capability put to the test, delivering essential PPE to the Isles of Scilly in 2021. From horse-drawn carriages to electric vans, the vehicles of the Royal Mail have played a crucial role in connecting the people of the UK for over 500 years. They've overcome logistical challenges, adapted to changing times, and remained a beloved part of British culture. The next time you see a Royal Mail van on the road, remember the rich history behind it and the journey it's taken to get here. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider liking, leaving a comment with your story, and subscribing for future content.